Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective, and in just a moment, I will be joined by Belinda, the other disabled vet, for her perspective. Yes, we actually are on air together today. There's no hurricanes, no disasters, nothing to keep us from getting the information to the people. So, want to say hi, DA Archer, CLC, DM. Good to see you all. But we're definitely looking for others to attend. But this is episode 13. That would be lucky 13. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, introducing Miss Belinda. Thank you. Yeah, and all that stuff.
Hello.
This has been such a long time coming. I mean, there's been like hurricanes and families and everything. I mean, it's just like a curse. So, how are you?
Alex, I have.
You have what?
I hear you
I don't hear
twice.
you. Okay, put your earbuds in. I figured that might happen if you didn't have them in.
Earbuds?
Yeah, you're gonna have to put your earbuds in. Yep. Otherwise, you'll hear the echo, echo, echo.
It's like.
Hey, Freeman, good to see you. Glad you're here. We'll get started here in just a minute. I'm not talking yet. How about now? You got it plugged in? Ancient drummer, good evening. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me
I
now?
only hear you once. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. All right. So, this week's episode, we're going to be in part discussing the homelessness of veterans and programs that have been put into place to correct that or to at least uh, reduce it to some extent. So, I guess the first thing to do is to bring up the. Belinda, did you say you had some current events that were going to be coming up? Did you actually find some ahead of time like I did? Hello, Belinda. Can you hear me now? Please don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, thank you, CLC. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Can you not hear me? No audio?
I
Can you hear?
can, but I hear you. I hear you. I hear you twice.
Oh, um, do you have it playing on your YouTube at the same time as on StreamYard in the computer?
Oh, StreamYard. Yes. How do I mute StreamYard?
Well, you don't want to mute StreamYard. You want to mute YouTube. So you go to your YouTube that's open showing our page and then hit that mute button, and then you'll get me once instead of the twice.
Okay, say something.
Something.
Woohoo! Okay, that's what it was. I had YouTube came open on my computer and also my iPad. Okay.
All right. So can we start now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. The last question I asked you before I was so rude. Sorry. Just I had to get that out. Did you find current events as one, but waiting to see if you found another one?
For veterans? Yes. No. Hmm. I don't know if anybody can hear me. I have no chat, nothing. I don't know if anybody's out there. I'm all alone.
Well, you guys know me, glitchiest thing on YouTube. Hi, Belinda. Welcome back.
Hey.
Anyway, so third time is a charm. Everyone's got you loud and clear now, so we're good
Okay.
for a second
Okay.
anyway, until we drop out again. Did
Okay.
you find any other current events? I mentioned I found one. Did you find anything else?
Well,
Or
as far as
events to come?
veterans of things to come. Well,
Right.
let's see what I have here. I do know that the DAV uh, is offering grants, $1,500 grants to veterans that are in need. It's an easy application. It's through the UNMET program. And you can go to, I said DAV, it's the VFW, any VFW
Okay.
anywhere. And it's sponsored in part by Burger King. Burger King runs a
Okay.
drive in April and in November, taking donations for the Unmet program. They've raised $5.3 million since 2007, and it's a short, easy application process. And they will pay up to $1,500 to the people you need them to pay. They pay direct to the payor. They pay direct, so there's no hassle on the veterans end with now I got to get this account or whatever. You just tell them who it is, and it's
So,
$1,500, and there's a lot of veterans out there that need help with cell phones, electric bill, car insurance that's going to lapse because something happened. And it's a
okay.
nice
So the question
resource.
is,
Mhm.
can the veteran themselves apply for it, or does it have to be applied for by somebody else for that veteran?
No, the veteran applies and they say, I can't,
Okay.
I'm having trouble, I just need to be caught up on this bill. And you can go in there and several bills. It's up to a total of $1,500 based on what the veteran needs. And then the VFW pays them directly. They don't cut you a check that says, Alex and, Belinda. Alex needs to pay Belinda, $1,500. They just pay Belinda directly. So there is no
Okay.
middleman. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. Gloria Lucas and Pete the Patriot have joined us. Welcome to you both. I'm glad to
Hello.
see everybody joining. The thing that I actually found, as you guys know, Belinda and I usually find some fascinating activities that are going on for veterans, usually the day it happens or afterwards.
Mm.
So, with some not minimal research, I actually found one that isn't happening today. It
Do tell.
is, oh, I know, just brace yourselves. This one is March 29th through April 3rd of 2020.
Mark
2020
it on
with
your
Balalatis.
calendar.
Yes. Now, what this is Shred Limitations, is what it's titled. And it's a ski weekend, so to speak, for Colorado. Let's see, where did I say this was going to be? Snowmass
Colorado, I
Village,
think.
Colorado. And they are offering a ski weekend. Let me read the little paragraph here. It says, a world leader in rehabilitation, the National Disabled Veterans Winter Sports Clinic provides nearly 400 profoundly disabled veterans with training and rehabilitation every year. Veterans with traumatic brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, visual impairments, amputations, and other severe disabilities are challenged to overcome perceived limitations through adaptive skiing, sled hockey, scuba diving, rock wall climbing, educational, and other activities. My guess is that it will not be scuba diving in the mountains, but they probably offer that on lower level lands. But yeah, this is through the DAV, so Disabled American Veterans Association, and if you or somebody you know might be interested in it, then I'd highly recommend you let them get with the DAV and find out how they can get scheduled to be a participant in it.
Well, those are all wonderful things. I think we should all be involved in these organizations. Some of them that we have worked with or volunteered with have been over the top, uh, heavy with, everybody wants to be in charge. But then some of them that we've been with, say that again, I'm sorry.
I didn't.
Oh, okay. But some,
It,
they always are a great resource. You never know who's going to be there. You never know who you can help or might be able to help you, and it's always great camaraderie, I find. The only one that I haven't been to is the Fleet Reserve.
oh yeah,
I don't
okay.
know anything about
Um, DM just wanted me to remind you to keep your chat up on YouTube, but to do your audio and video through StreamYard so that you can actually see the
That's
chat
what I've
too.
done. That's what I'm doing now. Yeah, by turning off the yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
You're outstanding. I don't care what DM said about you.
Love me a long time.
Yes. So anyway, so that's the at this point, believe it or not, that was the only upcoming event that I could nail down, and I did do some looking. So there's got to be. We have to figure out how to do a directory of some kind and see if we can get national events labeled or listed. Maybe I don't even know how to say it. I don't know how to do it, but it's something that we need to pursue. I think because we
Well, I
either get
have
them on the
been
day
looking.
or months ahead of time.
Yeah, yeah. Between all my misses here lately, and the silly hurricane that took 10 days to get here, and the people that we were concerned about being with them, I've off and on. I've been trying to through my email consolidate a list to get things like you say in a timely manner. I don't want to know about it. It happened 2 days ago.
Right.
There. Do you want me
So
to tell you about the 94-year-old World War II veteran?
sure, let's start out with some really good news because I like that because we've there's definitely not always good news. So start that out with that. Go ahead.
Okay. A 94-year-old World War II veteran and former POW is giving back to veterans in a big way. The organization he created is giving free toolboxes to veterans. Each toolbox is filled up to $500 worth of quality hand tools. It's called the Resource Exchange Association, and it's a veteran managed nonprofit, and it has been around since 1984.
Wow,
Uh, yeah, isn't that a great thing? And
it really is.
yeah, he spent time in a Nazi POW camp. Began operating a small warehouse. Once he got out of the military in Burlington, North Carolina, and his goal then was just to assist other nonprofits, the ill, the needy, and infants. In 2012, he sharpened his focus on the condition of the wounded veterans returning home. And he's still in North Carolina, and he sends toolboxes to combat wounded veterans. Because he's sent out over 8,000 toolboxes so far. Since there's been such a surge and a tremendous demand, he is now giving priority to Purple Heart recipients. So, I think it's a great thing, and I just want to donate to him. What a wonderful thing to do, because a lot of people, when they get out of the military, I find they're more blue collar than white
Right.
collar, or they go white collar and realize they can't do that, and they go blue collar. And blue collar is a large range of everything. But
Right. Does
it's
there?
reach.
I was just going to ask you if there was a source for donating.
Yes, it's called the REACH Wounded Veteran Program, and I'm clicking it now to see where it takes me to the great beyond. And it looks the website is REAINC.org. and
Just say it one more time.
they have a tool, a hero hall. It's just a beautiful thing, and they have a veteran
Let
here
me
on
get
their
the name one more.
homepage. Sure,
Let me get the
the
name one more
website
time so I can type it in. Yeah,
R E
yeah, so I can
A
type it in. Okay.
REAINC.org.
Okay. Um, yeah, I put it in there. REAINC.org to donate,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe to find out where to donate once you
And
get there.
yeah, I mean, and if anybody out there needs a toolbox or knows someone that needs a toolbox, by goodness, fill out the application. And if you have
Absolutely.
whatever the and if you have whatever they need in donations, whether it's monetary or you're cleaning out tools, and I know that we have made many trips to Home Depot for that thing, and then find two of them later when you get back home from Home Depot. So
Yeah, I think we're all guilty of that. Does he have a program for used tools, or is it
I
does he
didn't
do this
see that.
on brand new?
I didn't see that. I didn't dive into his website, but I'm sure all the details are there as to what they do accept and don't accept. So
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. It's a nice
I
opening
think
subject.
that's a wonderful thing. And that's a 94-year-old, because
Right.
I'm always looking for something to do. And
But you're not
I,
94 yet.
I'm not 94, and that's what the problem
Yeah.
is. I'm
Well,
not
you got a
smart
ways to
yet.
wait. Okay. Well, let's jump over here to the little headlines on the Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs, see what we've got going on for this week. Um, as you guys know, September is Suicide Prevent Awareness and Prevention Month. At the end of the show, I want to make sure I leave us about 5 minutes or so I can tell you guys about a program I found that I think will be interesting. Um, I'll go over that. Let's see. The other one is federal agencies partner to expand employment uh, reintegration, easy for me to say, grants for homeless veterans or those at risk of homelessness. So they're trying to get people into programs where they can be, I guess, taught new trades, but also education and maybe getting them set up so that if they're grubby and looking bad from the streets, they get them cleaned up so they're ready to go to work. It says the U.S. Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and the U.S. Integrancy Council. Got to spit them out. Integrancy Council on Homelessness collaborated in August to successfully roll out the recently expanded Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program, which will help more than 18,000 homeless and at-risk veterans secure meaningful employment and stable housing. So that could be a good deal.
I think that is more than a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, um, well, that is our subject of the day, and I got interesting things to say about the homeless programs. But let me get this two more headlines out of the way, and then we'll go into that main subject. And it says VA to award more than $30 million in new grants to support formerly homeless veterans. So um, I'm not sure what that is. It says U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs will award $30 million under the new grant and per diem GPD program October 1st to 128 organizations to provide wraparound supportive services to veterans who were previously homeless or at risk of losing their housing. So again, uh, looks like homelessness of veterans is becoming a serious topic because that's two main subjects in the intergovernmental affairs this week just on homelessness. So they're taking it seriously, I think.
I think they are too. And to go on with that, the vet unemployment rate rose again for the fourth consecutive month. And jobless rates for the younger veterans was much higher than the national average. And that's the first time since. And if there's anybody out there that owns a small business or works at a small business, I highly urge you to hire or recommend veterans.
Yeah, we've got American Warhorse and History Bee just joined us. They're both waving their hands, so make sure you wave it back. Propus is here too, and let's see, Mindful Mark D. So we're getting a regular sized band together here. Pretty soon it'll be a big band. Old Reliable. Well, thank goodness they're here because we want to make sure we remain reliable. Um, all right, so last.
Can I respond to DA or can I say something to DA Archer?
You absolutely can, unless I hit your mute,
I
which would be
see.
really mean.
You can do that. I don't know how up to date my chat is because my YouTube is running very slow. But he says there's a lady that does quilts and sells them for unreal money. But if you have a friend that's a vet, she'll make one for free. There is also a program. It's called Quilts of Valor. And they make quilts. A bunch of ladies get together in different regions and make quilts that veteran. Like if I said Alex needs a quilt, this was his service dates. I tell them something unique about Alex, and they make a
The only
quilt.
thing unique about me is that you have to unique up on me all the time. Yeah.
You're
Anyway,
killing me. You're killing me, Smalls.
I know. I kill myself too. Watchful Warrior here is here. Folks, make sure you send up some prayers for this man right here. He had a significant accident over the holiday weekend. Took a tumble off of a deck and shattered his arm, messed up his back, and did a bunch of real choice things to himself. I'd recommend you don't do that again. God bless you, brother. I hope you come through this and kick its ass and get back on your feet quickly. We're all thinking about you always out here. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Let's get him healed up. Anyway, so let me, good. Let me get this last one from Intergovernmental Affairs, and then we'll jump into our subject of the week. It says, VA Secretary to visit Israel, representing President Trump. VA Secretary Robert Wilkie will travel to Israel next week to represent President Trump at a September 11th ceremony in Jerusalem, marking the 18th anniversary of 9/11 attacks against the United States. So I'm not sure. I guess we did lose a lot of Israeli citizens in that building as well, but we lost citizens from many countries. So anyway, so that's decent of him. Get over there and see what's going on, show support. And so, Belinda, what else? You've got something else before we jump into the homeless vet problem?
If any of y'all have a family member in the Army or about to join the Army, they have increased their maximum bonuses from $72,000 for a 5-year reenlistment to $81,000. And it's for critical billets, cyber ops, intel, special forces, and my personal favorite, EOD.
Blow stuff up.
Exactly. But that is that's a significant. They're trying to keep their talent that has 6 years or more. They want to retain that talent because it costs a whole lot of money to retrain the new guy, and for that new person to have the confidence or the intuitiveness. And they've increased all their bonuses. They're one year on up about $900. Yeah. And that's for every, I don't know what the Army calls them, but for every job title.
MOS.
And it is MOS for them. Okay. So for every MOS. So, if you have a young person, a child or your spouse going in, it's something to look at. I don't
Right.
see any problem with EOD, but that takes nerves of steel.
Yep. Well, we got Sandra Ann McGibbon, Linda Horner. Um, we got Dangerous Freedom jumped in here. Bernie, Bernie, can you do a phonetic uh, listing of your last name? Is it Mabe or is it Mabe or how is it pronounced? Because I'm curious if it has Turkish origins. Only because I live there, and it's just interesting to see a name that could very likely be Turkish up here. But if you just have some way of writing it out in the pronunciation, that'd be interesting for my own satisfaction anyway. Um, so, yes, we will get into homelessness. I wanted to just look through, I've got military.com open, and there's just a couple of little things that are one is interesting, and the Army is investigating how a 19-year-old diagnosed with autism was recruited. Um, that that would be interesting. Yeah. Um,
Oh my.
Usually, yeah, I don't know how they got close enough to him to do a physical or anything because my two nephews are both autistic and they are not handsy. You don't want to be pawing at them.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yeah, my sister got two. She they both have one of them has Tourette's, Asperger, and autism. The other one has Asperger and autism. So it's
Oh
she
my
she has a lot
goodness.
of fun. They're great people. I mean, I love my nephews. They're really good kids, but they're just
Absolutely.
you have to learn how to handle them, how to deal with them, and all that. So once you get to that point, everything becomes easier. This is a complaint by the Marines that says Marine grunts say their skills won't get them into civilian jobs. The Corps wants to change that. And that's true. When all you know how to do is hunt and kill, there's not a lot of things in the outside world that you can just walk right into.
Well, I did see on that, like we were talking earlier, on the VFW site, they have a tool that you can pull up, and it helps convert your military skills into civilian life, which is sometimes, hard to say. You don't realize what you're doing in the military, what in the military equates to civilian life, especially if you're somebody like an ordnanceman or an infantryman or something like that.
Right. Well, I was a truck driver, equipment operator. I could operate anything that the military offered as long as it had wheels or tracks on it. I was licensed for everything. The interesting thing is, even that didn't convert to the outside world. Once I got out of the military, I actually had to go back and get my commercial driver's license, and then I had to pay for my endorsements. But when I was active duty, I had a license where I could have done everything, including drive for the president. So I had every endorsement that you can
Hmm.
have on a military driver's license. I did tactical defensive vehicle operations. I operated tanks and cranes and everything that you can think of. And then when I got out, I found out that I wasn't licensed for anything. So if I would have gotten all of my endorsements back, it would have been somewhere around $10,000 because I was even licensed to haul nuclear ordnance. So I couldn't do any of that stuff when I got out. I had to pay for all new endorsements if I wanted to do that stuff, and that's something that needs to change because I drove some of the biggest equipment made by man, and then when I got out of the military, it was, oh well, you're not licensed for that. So that needs to be corrected.
Yes, it does. I mean, that's just silly. I do well, like you saw, everybody got out with a what was that license? The fork license. I think it was standard issue. You know, here's your
Right,
clothes, here's your forklift license. Moving on. And I do
right,
know that saved a lot of people when they first got out, was being able to drive a forklift because it's a standard school, and
right.
I know that saved a lot of people. And now we have Amazon. We have 3 or 2 built, and we think there's a third one going in. Huge Amazon warehouses here in
Yeah,
Jacksonville.
well, they
And
have robots running around to handle all that.
well, they do have some actual humans in there doing that. They do have some.
Right.
So, but that I saw a thing first to a lady at Walmart, and it was during right before the hurricane came, and we were all looking for water and stuff like that. And have you seen the new robot at Walmart that counts everything in Walmart?
I'm only laughing because my son did.
He saw
He
it.
rounded a corner, ended up face to face with this thing, and he said it was almost a fight. It
Yeah.
scared the crap out of him.
Yeah,
It
I
was
was just
funny.
walking along one day, and this big blue eye is, because it's an odd shaped thing, and this
Right.
blue thing is looking at me, and you kind of do the side step, like, what is this here? Well, the lady, like I said, we were all in line trying to get some water, and she is so frustrated with that robot because so many people, night check people, have lost their inventory jobs.
Right.
And she secretly cusses every self checkout because she's afraid her job could be next.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be much longer, especially if they get away with that $15 an hour minimum wage. But anyway, so we are right at 6:30. So for the next 30 minutes, minus the 5 minutes at the end, but 25 minutes, I want to talk about the things going on with the homeless vets, the programs in place. Unless you got something else you want to add real quick before we get into that subject, Belinda.
No, sir. No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Conservative Patriots here. Good to see you, Duke Raw. Good to see you. Um, Glad to see everybody coming in. If I haven't gotten you named out directly in the chat, you probably got to the top of the chat before I looked over. But I'm waving my hand anyway. So I always watch these afterwards and read my chat. So if you guys put questions in there that I don't happen to get at the time or may miss them as they go up quickly, just know that I do get the questions. And if you needed something answered directly, make sure you put your email in there, and I'll email you an answer on something specific if needed. All right, so this was an article I found earlier in the week, and it was talking about Virginia canceling its homeless veterans protection program, or placement program. And the interesting thing is, from what I can tell, that's been scrubbed. I was unable to re-find that article, but what I found here was VA kills plan to cut homeless vet program after outcry. So they had a lot of people bitching out loud about it, and they decided, oh, wait a minute, it may not be a good idea. So it says Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin has killed a plan to shift money from a major homelessness program in response to a wave of protests from veterans advocates who said the move would aggravate conditions for chronically ill and vulnerable vets. So,
Would aggravate. Such a little wussy word. Would
yeah,
aggravate. There,
right.
please.
No, I think it would just
That
downright
is
piss them off.
well,
The thing is, some of these
and
people,
cause harm. It could cause harm.
yeah, I mean, like I've always said, some people just choose to live on the streets because maybe they've been through something and they just can't deal with being in buildings. They can't deal with structure. There's a lot of reasons, but there are some people that just don't have any fault of their own or choice that end up on the streets. And after you serve your country, should be no excuse for that whatsoever.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I
especially
I
when we
think
have
everyone
millions of
agrees
empty homes.
100%.
Yeah, we got empty buildings and empty homes all over the country, and they just sit and rot. There's no excuse for it. But let's
Yeah,
see, advocate. Huh? Go ahead. You
Nothing.
done?
For real.
Okay.
For
Okay,
real.
fine.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. It says advocates for veterans, state officials, and even officials from HUD, which co sponsored the $460 million program, had attacked the decision, saying that the service has helped dramatically reduce homelessness among veterans after Politico published a story about their anger Skokin reversed course late Wednesday. So I'm curious. I can't remember who put out that article saying it was going to cancel, but they sure scrubbed it. It's gone. I can't find it. But
Well, good,
let's
because
see
they
here.
that makes sense that they would take it down. But it's almost like they were like when they robbed Social Security. There's so much money in there that hasn't been spent. That should be almost running. What at zero, I would think. Just always constantly using the money to advance. To get veterans
Right,
out of homelessness, or provide clothes, or pay for the mobile, like the guy that was down here. The mobile VA van truck thing came to see him. He got shots. He got a wellness checkup. Clothes
right,
or stuff that he needed. And like you said, he's one of the ones that didn't want to be inside. He was comfortable the way he lived, and
right,
but the veterans came and checked on him, and that's what we should be doing. That's a
right.
lot
I
of
mean,
money to still be in the coffers there, I feel.
right. And they're just itching to get a hold of it to spend it on their other pet projects. That's the thing that bugs me. When money is allocated, it needs to be left the hell alone and spent accordingly and not moved around from one pot to the other.
Yeah, yeah,
It says,
I agree.
this is a quote, and it says, there will be absolutely no change in the funding to support our homeless program. Good. He said in a news release, adding that the money will not be shifted to choice programs, which enables veterans to get health care outside the VA systems. So the excuse was, oh, well, we are going to give it to the medical treatment. That's horseshit. It would have gone to three other places before they would have said, oh, well, we had to spend it on this before we could put it into the Veterans Choice Program. Veterans Choice is covered under a different program, so you got to watch out for those little tricks they try to pull. It's always think about the children's and you know what about the hungry folk? They always have that little stuff on there they put you to jerk your soul out of you and step on it and make you feel miserable because you're taken from the children's, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They just turn off the sad story that it's applied to, and turn on the waterworks for the next sad story. And
Right,
everybody plays a. You kind of lose sight. Oh, this is for the homeless veterans. Well, wait, we're going to take money from them and now apply it to the. Uh, what did you say? One of the other things was.
they were talking about choice programs, saying, "Oh,
Oh, the Veterans
adding that
Choice
the money
Program.
would not be shifted to the choice program." So, oh, we're gonna take care of the homeless vets, but we can't take care of the sick people.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just don't fall for that crap. It's so stupid. But it
Have
says,
you seen the Choose program? I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. I have not. What is it?
I don't know what it is. We were watching part. We went over to my daughter's house for lunch today, and we were watching the football game. And the next thing you know, this big VA ad comes on TV about the Choose program. But I caught the end of it, and just with what you're talking about now, made me think of it. And I think it, of course, has to do with something medically motivated. I just didn't know if you had heard of it. Let me look that up. Never mind. Carry on.
Yeah, look that up. We'll stop there when you find it. Let's see. Shokin promised to get input from local VA leaders and others on how to best target our funding to the geographical areas that need it most. Um, it seems like they could buy like an empty apartment complex, for $460 million. They could either buy it or lease it, spend a couple of $1 million fixing the place up, and they could turn the whole place into a housing facility for veterans. And if you put all these veterans together in one place, and they would have camaraderie, they would have everything that they have in the military that they depend on from one another, and I think it would be an all the way around better deal for them. it would give them something to lean on anyway. But it says the announcement came after a confusing week of messaging from the VA on November 27th. Skokin and HUD Secretary Ben Carson appeared at a Washington shelter to tout President Trump's commitment to ending veterans' homelessness. Then on December 1st, Skokin's staff told advocates on the phone that the agency was ending the program on one of two major VA homelessness projects. The funneling the money to the local VA hospital that could decide how to use it. The original VA decision was buried in September circular, buried in a September circular without prior consultation with HUD or veterans groups. So they were trying to do it on the hush hush and got caught.
Absolutely. Say it ain't
see where
so.
that went.
Say it ain't
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy, let's see, trying to see what Hulkin is. Is he a Democrat? David Shulkin, Secretary David
I have no
Shulkin.
idea.
Somebody look that up real quick. David Shulkin, is he a Democrat or Republican? Because I think that if I was just to go by on the trying to launder money or shelter it in another agency, just kind of tells me who his party affiliation is. But let's see. Hey, Fred, good to see you, brother. Welcome. Jarvis is here too, so definitely got a group together today. Anyway, so that's what I got on that. So somebody look up Secretary David Shulkin, Shulkin, and let's see if he's a demon rat or a other than a demon rat.
Demon rat.
Yeah, I just have a feeling. All right.
So do I.
Let's see. This one is interesting. This one is a Democrat, and more power to him. It says McAuliffe announces milestone in ending veterans homelessness. Richmond Governor Terry McAuliffe, Democrat, announced Wednesday that Virginia is the first state to meet the federal definition of effectively ending homelessness among the military veterans. Interesting that he's defending Virginia after they were saying they were going to quit it, and now it's saying, "Oh, we're doing a great job." This quote from him says, "Folks, there is a reason why we are the greatest state in America." Sorry. Excuse me.
You have to be long now.
Yes, we are the greatest state in America. We are because we take care of our veterans. McAuliffe said at a ceremony in Richmond, Virginia, a Richmond Veterans Memorial. The federal homelessness designation means Virginia has no homeless veterans, with the exception of those who have been offered housing but do not want it. The state must find a home for a veteran within 90 days and have more homes available than the number of veterans who have been identified as having no place to live. Okay, good. Let's expand the program into other people that are homeless that don't want to be. Since they got so much extra, let's actually do stuff for all the citizens.
Why don't I believe that? Am I just that much of a skeptic?
Well, we're rarely disappointed. It's just the way it is.
Sadly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it says 3 cities: Las Vegas, Syracuse, Shenandoah Creek, whatever the hell it is, in New York.
Sure.
Also have met, huh?
I said sure.
Yes. Well, it's Schenectady.
Yes.
Schenectady. Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
I agree.
Also have met the criteria for claiming and end veteran homelessness in their cities, according to the White House statement, but Virginia is the first state to do so. Julian Castro, what a putz. Excuse me, that wasn't added there. That wasn't written there.
Yeah.
Secretary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development joined McAuliffe in Richmond for the Veterans Day announcement. Castro praised Virginia for achieving a first, even as he made light of McAuliffe's reflexive boosterism. Castro noted that in an hour long meeting before the ceremony, the governor called Virginia the greatest state in the nation about 101 times. I wonder if Castro believed him. Anyway, he's a
101 times. You got nothing
yeah.
else to say then. Sorry.
Well, we got
You
to
know,
cover it up somehow.
I guess.
So that is actually the articles that I've got on the homeless program at this point. The ones that were of significance because it was the program was going to be stopped, and then people pitched a bitch, and then they put the program back in. They reinstated it, and now they're bragging about it again. So, um, yeah, it's fascinating. So, with
Crazy.
that being said, what else did you have, Belinda? That because we got what are we 15 a little shy of 15 minutes, and all I need is 5 minutes to talk about that thing at the end there about suicide awareness.
Um, yeah, I have something about suicide awareness as well. I don't if you can see me because everything has gone black. Um,
I can see
I
you.
did see in the chat. Okay, my I haven't seen us being animated on my screen since almost this started, but I did see in the chat somebody asking about Facebook, and it is Belinda Baskin. Is That's my name on Facebook because that's my name. So if anybody wants to know,
Weird.
yes, you can get me there at Belinda Baskin. I brought
Um,
up the national statistics on suicide. I knew you had the veteran statistics, and I brought up the national statistics.
no, by all means, please.
It says that, of course, September is Suicide Prevention Month, and there are an average of 123 suicides each day. It's the 10th leading cause of death in America. That's
That is absurd.
that breaks my heart. That just breaks my heart is what that does. It's the second leading cause of death for ages 25 to 34. Why? That they're so young. Is it the stress? Is it
Well,
the disconnect? And it's the
here's
third
an
leading cause of
interesting,
death for ages 15 to 24.
interesting thing about young suicide. I mean, there's nothing interesting about it, but medically, um, I call them kids, but kids at my age are different than kids at young ages. But anyway, so up to about 25, 27 years old, a lot of the things that they've gone through in the younger part of their life have happened to them before they finished their mental development. So you have you've altered the mindset of the young people, and you've gotten them programmed and done a certain way before they've completely matured, and maybe that alone could have something to do with it, possibly, but
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't know if it's, because I have the whole social media issue and parenting, and I know that my daughter is 32 years old, and she is so stressed, and I can't. I mean, she's a nurse, so her job is stressful, but all the other
Right.
things that are getting to her. I mean, she's, had to cut that out. Just having to cut out all these things to try and reduce these external things, trying to reduce her stress. And I don't
Well,
know. You
there's a
see all
social
these young people.
drive. The
Go ahead.
news itself is driving fear and anger and anxiety into the populace. That's what they do. They want fear because people in fear and stressed out are a lot easier to control than people that are relaxed and not particularly emotional. But they have to keep people absolutely on edge if they want to keep control. And I think that society itself is driving people out to the edge. So, I mean, your daughter's a good example. It's just the stimulation around her is probably a lot of negative. And I know with the news, it's about 96% negative. That's a whole lot of negativity to be jamming into some young people's heads.
I, I mean, I don't ever remember it. Either I was young and dumb or it wasn't on my radar. I remember as a, a young 20 something, uh, knowing about, being marginally involved with politics or things that were going on, but never to the point where I felt I had to turn it off. But then we didn't have these, 24-hour Fox News and, CNN and all those other
Right. Yeah.
out,
It's
you know, because I told her, I
it
said, do
just
you even hear
piles
the
on.
birds? Yeah, she can't hear anything. I'm like, do you hear the birds in your neighborhood? Do you turn the radio off in your car for a second and just try to, you know, recenter yourself?
Well, that's one
It's
reason I really
sad.
like living in the country because when we go to deal with society, we do what we have to do. We go get our groceries. We get there and then we get out, and we have our window right next to where we sit, and it's got bird feeders all the way across it, squirrel feeders. So we watch the critters all day, and then at night we got a raccoon and a whole family of possums that comes in to chill out and eat. So we get our cat TV out the window, and we've killed the regular TV. I don't do satellite TV anymore. We pretty much do movies when we feel like it, but I get enough of it just doing this research for these shows. Uh, I don't need any more from the outside.
Yeah, and kids as young as 15. I mean, we've all seen the news where you have, the the third grader, what is
Right?
that, 10 years old? They
Uh,
dead from
yeah.
suicide in 10 years. I can't, it's
It
very
makes me wonder
emotional
if the
for me.
parents are paying attention because
I think they're so stressed out because they're the next bracket up, the 25 to 34-year-olds, well, no, I guess that wouldn't be right. But, we're a generation of stressed young adults raising a generation of young children that are stressed out. And I have no idea how to fix it. All I can do is if you take care of your own, then your own will take care of the next person, and then they will take care, it'll have that tumbling effect.
right.
And
Well,
that's all I know to
there's a
do
lot of
is
things
take
that have to
care, like you
change in
said, with
order.
suicide.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going to have to change if we're going to keep people alive. But the thing is, there's such a drive for population control. It just makes me wonder if some of this stuff isn't part of their plan.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Alex.
Yeah. Well, this is the. I'm going to go ahead and do this subject. We got about 6 minutes left, but as you guys know, we're talking about suicide, and this is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. I found a thing online, and it says what to do if I suspect someone may be having thoughts of suicide. And last week, when I talked about this, somebody wrote in the chat that they just don't know what to do or they don't know what signs to look for. And I'm hoping that this will help that a little bit. Um, it says knowing the action steps can save a life. If you encounter a loved one, veteran, or neighbor displaying some of the above concerns, there are 5 simple actions and steps you can take. Number one is ask. Many people don't ask, and they're afraid of maybe insulting or whatever. But You got to ask. And as this research shows, people who are having thoughts of suicide feel relief when someone asks after them in a caring way. Findings suggest that acknowledging and talking about suicide may reduce rather than increase the suicidal intent and ideation. Um, Keep them safe. A number of studies have indicated that when a lethal means are made less available or less deadly, suicide rates by the method decline, and frequently suicide rates overall decline. So this is what I was talking about. If you had somebody that was having problems and you get them out of their environment where they have too much time to think, you get them out, take them somewhere else, and talk and get them out of the situation that's making them think too much. Be there. Individuals are more likely to feel less depressed, less suicidal, less overwhelmed, and more hopeful after speaking to someone who listens without judgment. That's important. Just sit and listen. Um, the information will be volunteered to you if you just take time to sit and listen. Um,
Yeah.
help them stay, yeah, help them stay connected. Studies indicate that helping someone at risk create a network of resources and individuals for support and safety can help them take positive action and reduce feelings of hopelessness. Again, getting them out doing things. Follow up. Studies have also shown that brief, low cost intervention and supportive ongoing contact may be an important part of the suicide prevention, especially for individuals after they have been discharged from hospitals and care services. So once they're released, don't forget about them. Go play cards with them, checkers or whatever, and spend some time with them. Um, a treatable condition. It is important to realize that suicide is not a mental illness in and of itself, but a serious potential consequence of treatable mental health conditions. Hence, efforts to reduce suicide to zero, a noteworthy goal of the VA. Psychiatric disorders, which include major depression, bipolar disorder, and substance use disorders, and yes, PTSD must be identified and treated. So that's 5 steps that you can do to help uh, reduce this risk.
And another thing that I know is if you see their personal habits change, if you've
Right.
always had the tidy person, the clean person, and now they're more, you go in their house and it's gone from, I'm not talking a magazine. I'm just, their house was in order to now it's cluttered, disarray, nothing's being kept up with. That's another sign that there's something going on. And
Yeah.
like you said, just listening to a person saying I hear you can change so much.
Right. American Warhorse just put up something that's about to jump off my screen. So let me come back here because this is good.
Okay.
He says, as long as a person is still talking about hurting themselves, they want help. When they shut down, that's when it's going in the bad direction, going to the bad. That's true. You got to keep them engaged. When they stop talking, that means they've given up. They just figure nobody gives a damn. So just simple talking. Little
Yeah,
things
you
really
can't
do
forget
make a big
about them.
difference.
Yeah, you can't talk to them, day one and say, "Oh, I think they said they would do this," and and then move on with. You need to call them day two, day three, day four, day five until you start to visualize the change. Because
Right.
also some people are very creative and they will
Right.
overdose. They will, not intending to kill themselves, but for some reason that's something that people feel a release from, and you need to follow through with them on day 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
It's a big responsibility, and I think that's why a lot of people don't ask questions. They don't want to be responsible. That's my job, is
Right.
to it's not my job, but that's what I have to do, is take care of my brothers and sisters. I mean,
Yeah. Well, that's true. We are at 6:59, so that's pretty much our hour. I wanted to just take a minute and let you guys know that my mods have been putting my links in here, and if you folks do want to help this channel grow, um, I don't ask for money. That's not the way I am. But if you guys want to drop a tip, drop a donation, I'm eternally grateful for anything. Um, but this is not free. There's a lot involved in this, so at this point, it definitely comes out of pocket, and so that's all I'll say about it. But my mods, you guys do a great job. I appreciate all my visitors coming to see me today. Belinda, I'm so glad we're back together. It's been
Me
2 miserable weeks of being all by myself.
Oh, you did just fine.
Yeah, well, I I can handle it, but boy, I sure like the teamwork. But it adds more. It makes our show more special.
Oh,
But so anything
yeah,
you
I
want to
just
say on
talk
the way
over
out?
you. Did
Right.
I
Well,
just
that's
talk over
fine.
you?
Somebody's got to do it. The
Yeah.
dog does it too. So, but
Yeah,
anything you
she's
want to say
back
on the way
inside
out?
now. I just thank you all for watching Alex and myself when I'm on
And
here, and
Belinda.
appreciate all y'all's inputs, and hope to see y'all next Sunday.
We'll be here. All right, y'all. That's what we got for this week, and we will be back on Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Eastern or Central, 7 Eastern, and this will be the second attempt at my new show, our new show. I think you guys will get a kick out of it if I don't have drastic disabilities with my streaming. But anyway, so that's what we got, y'all. Until next Tuesday, stay in the fight.